From the world of AV programming and control with James King, I'm Steve Greenblatt, and this is Ask the Programmer. James, how are you today? And glad to be back. And this is going to be another exciting episode.
Doing good, Steve. Glad to be back. And again, when we have a smart guest on, it's always great.
Absolutely. If you didn't catch our last episode or the previous episodes where we had Hope Roth, she's been on now for a fourth time, which is awesome, and leads well, actually, Dan Farisi, you and Dan Farisi are going neck and neck, but welcome, Hope, and thanks for being with us again.
Thanks for having me. Do I get a special four timers jacket like they do on SNL?
We're going to work on that. We're going to work on that. We're going to have to talk to our sponsors. But yes, thank you. So Hope was on in our previous episode and also in episodes 164 and 165. So check those out. Last episode, we talked about mentorship. Please listen to that podcast. And today, we're going to talk about, and we're going to be one of the first to announce, Hope's got a new role, and she is now the Ecosystem Communities Platform Manager at Q-SYS, and she's going to tell us what that's all about. But this is a really cool role, and really interesting for our audience of programmers.
Yeah, thanks for letting me do a uh little announcement. I'm very excited about this new role. Q-SYS Communities for Developers is our developer platform website, which I have been fairly active on since I joined Q-SYS a few years ago. And it's basically a place where you can go, and if you are stuck on a tricky programming question, you can ask for help. And five of the smartest people out there working in our ecosystem will give you five equally, interesting and helpful answers. It's also a place where we announce new plugins, where we give other news. People keep reporting bugs on it, and I tell them to go to support, but it's a way for people to say, hey, is it just me, or is this, something that's not working right? And then five of the smartest people you've ever met will show you where your typo was, but in a very nice way. So I just love it. It's a great community. I learn stuff from it all the time. So in my role, I will get to basically make purpose-built content for the community. Helping to sort of flesh out some of the offerings that we have, put some files out there to help people sort of figure things out, maybe do some programming challenges, and basically just it's free stuff for you to steal for your own projects.
One of my favorite ones is Show Us Your Q-SYS. So that's a cool channel to be on, which I, I know you've done with the Dollhouse. So that should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm thinking about how I can put some Dollhouse content in there because I've gotten a lot of feedback that people want to make their own. So I'm gonna try and put some stuff out there so folks can figure out how to do it.
Very nice. So James, community is something that we talk about a lot. We've been talking about it as the programmer community pretty much since we've started, so that programmers don't feel like they're out on an island. Is where does something like this that Hope is involved with, and now like it's actually a role for her to really to manage and ensure the success of this group? How does that impact programmers?
It it's another tool in our belt. Um, it's another area you can go to and get answers, use as a resource, build, connect, network. It's again, like I said, another tool in our tool belt. It's a great thing to know, and you see there people are taking advantage of it. Like Q-SYS having, I mean, this new role for a Hope, that's great. So again, it's just I wouldn't be shocked if others are starting to do it or will start doing it as well. So their communities are going to be everywhere, and you should join all of them.
Yeah, the idea of a community manager is maybe a little foreign to our industry, but it's common in a lot of other, especially online businesses, and I think it's a really neat role. It's something because what every company wants to do is build a following, and you build a following by creating engagement. And the fact that Q-SYS is doing this through they're investing in their programmers, like that, what more could we want from from the perspective of programmers always kind of feel left out. So do you have anything that you could whet people's appetite with, Hope, or some things that you're looking to get from people that are involved in the community?
Yeah, so there's a couple things. One is there's lots of different styles of learning. Some people learn best by reading, some by watching videos, some learn best by seeing how it's done and sort of taking it apart and breaking it, breaking it down and building it back up again, sort of just trying basically. And I think we as a company have done really well by the first two. Our videos are just top notch. We win all sorts of awards for them. But now here's a chance to, if you watch one of our control quick start guides, maybe there's a file there that shows you how it's all done. And then you can take that file, run it, take that code, put it into your own system and play with it. So for those who learn best just by kind of example or trial and error, this is sort of filling out that portfolio for them. And then the other thing is that, I want you to use my products, right? So I want them to be as easy to use as possible. Which means that if I can make a file that saves you 4 hours of not having to write it yourself, like that's great for me because, you times 20 other people, that's 80 hours of other folks' programming time if they all use it. So I'm really hoping to make content that people want, that people are looking for, and that will help them, in their real world projects.
Absolutely. I like that actually. I mean, that's one of the things that my company does as well, is help programmers save time. So that's really cool. And it's I think a great asset for the people who are looking to be involved. And I also think that it gives them a place to go when they're looking to connect with people like them and who understand them. So, which is why you're an excellent choice for that position.
Thank you. Yeah, and I mean, full disclosure, I use your plugins all the time.
Great. Thank you
We
for that.
I've got the password the pin manager one. I think I use that in almost all my UCIs. So, and with the keyboard companion. So,
Awesome.
shout out to Control Concepts for that one.
More to come. Stand by.
Yeah.
James, when you're looking at something like this, and it almost gives a programmer something to think about doing other than just writing code, and other than just the day of what they think a programmer's job is. This is a way that Hope has used her background and actually done something that others might consider fun or even become more social. Do you, you know what do you think is some ways to inspire more programmers to think that way, in terms of what where how they can leverage what they know in other areas?
That's a hard one. When I think of things like that, I always think of the saying, um, today they will laugh at you, tomorrow they'll ask for your advice. And it's about, pushing the boundaries, trying new things, doing things differently. And yeah, a lot of people will be like, why are you doing that? And then tomorrow they're gonna go, hey, can you show me how you did that? That's one great thing, as we've talked numerous times about our industry. We share knowledge very quickly and share among of each other. And I find it funny, kind of humorous, that how Hope was saying that, if he could save programmers 4 hours by doing something, that's great, which is, love that. But that's what programmers got in, was to save time for other people, non-programmers, so they actually write code to save other people's time, and now we have a programmer writing code for programmers to save time. So it's just gonna keep evolving and keep going. So push the envelopes.
Yeah, I love that.
Well, the way I look at it in that regard is that we end up having an industry of more specialists where you may just work on the user experience, and you can do that because you have you can stand upon the work done by others to do the part that you're not focused in. It gives us more time to really double down and be able to do one part of a project that much better, because you don't have to focus on all the other parts too, which is kind of the old way that we did stuff.
Yeah, I mean, as our industry has matured, I think the user experience has gotten better in general. And a big part of that is that we have the tools there where you're not spending all night just trying to get the switcher to work, that you're able to have equipment that's more standardized. You're able to have um, things that are more stable. And so then it frees people up to kind of um, make better systems, make more interesting systems, think more thoughtfully about the systems. So anything I can do to help folks with that is just, it's great for us, it's great for me. I'm really excited to sort of get to think creatively about things. So um I think the beauty of the AV programming community is we see a pile of boxes and some relays, and we're able to sort of, you give the same equipment to, 10 different of your listeners, they're all going to create 10 different things with it. So I'm really excited to say this is what I would do with this. What would you do with it, Steve? What would you do with it, James? So I'll give just a small example. The smart dollhouse that I did, I used the face counter in our NC camera series. So there's a feature in our NC cameras that will count the number of faces that it can see in a shot. And it also has a mode when you're setting it up where it'll put a box around everyone's face. So we put the camera on the UCI for the smart dollhouse. So you should really go listen to that episode because Steve and James did a great job with it. But small backstory of that, it was a dollhouse designed around teaching automation and what we do to Girl Scouts. So, a bunch of girls in ages from 6 to 14 are coming up, and we've got our camera on the touch panel, and it's pointing at them, and they can see how many faces are on it. And then we tell them you need to have at least 3 friends to have a party. Three's a party. So once it sees those 3 boxes, it enables a button, and then party mode on the dollhouse, where we had a disco ball and some LED spots and music and bubbles and all of that. So, the engineers at Q-SYS who came up with face count and the boxes never envisioned that is how that would be used, right? But because, we are in a creative industry, we're able to take that and use it in interesting ways.
Yeah, I like that. It, one thing that I think is, and this is not the case in higher ed, and James, you could kind of weigh in on this, is higher ed is very open in sharing. Programmers, not so much always, but this is kind of a way of being able to create more collaboration and more openness and more and it's happening already. I see it, currently in the communities where people are willing to not only share some of their solutions, but also ask for help. And hey, have you dealt with this, or do you have a plugin or code or something that you can give me to work with, either with a particular product or a function that they're looking for? Um, is this a change in our industry now, or is it just something that we had to bring out?
Um, I want to say it's a change, and why I'm saying that is I feel we're maturing as an industry. We're still, immature in some areas, but we're starting to adopt and accept our IT brothers and sisters, and do the things they're doing. When I was coding in websites and C# and all that stuff, like normal software development, I would hit Google and I would get pages, and not just like the first page, but like pages in Google of, hey, try this, try that. Like programmers were already sharing knowledge in software development. Now, and AV was like, nope, I'm not playing, I'm not sharing. And now it's like, well, everyone else is, so maybe we are going to start doing that now. And I think higher ed kind of led the forefront of that with the HEPMA community and everything is, as we always say, we are not competitors, or school might be, but we're here to help each other. Because you know what, as Hope says, because my school did it one way, does not mean USC is going to do it, or UCLA is going to do that way, or you know, Vanderbilt or Yavapai, or even looking at UNLV, like main campus and the School of Medicine are completely different teams, completely different needs. What they do on main campus doesn't mean we're going to do the same thing. So it allows that creativity, but now being able to share, say, hey, I did this, gets that creativity of the other person thinking and go, okay, well, there is more we can do with this. We don't have to go cookie cutter, dry and cut that this is it. We can push the envelope.
That's I think it's a real change, you know, where you tied that back to, I think is very true, because I think all software developers rely on the internet to get solutions. I mean, it's just what it is. So why not bring them together in a community, you know, which I think could be very valuable, and also the fact that it is backed by the manufacturer who can give them more concrete answers rather than having to trust somebody that you might not know is really, I think, a big asset as well.
Well,
Yeah,
and
and the funny, oh, go ahead, we're
uh,
Hope.
I was just gonna say, and I think the beauty of the communities we have for our Q-SYS developers is that, you know, we're listening. We're not just there to, I'm not just there to tell you how great Q-SYS is, you know. So we have an ideas section where folks can come in and say, you know, it would be really great if you guys could do X, Y, or Z. And, you know, a lot of those ideas get implemented. There's an option to go in and vote for them. So, you know, the best ideas get voted on, and you know, not everything is always feasible. If you come in and you tell me you want a flux capacitor, I'm going to tell you, sorry, not yet. Uh, but you know, there's a lot of things in our products that have come from ideas, or you know, hey, you know, I know you guys thought that this thing that you added was really nifty, but it turns out, you know, you didn't expose this control for that, and it's kind of, you know, we would like to see that, and it's like, oh, we will take that seriously, you know, so which you know, you have to be a little humbled in order to do that, and not everyone is always able to be that humble. So I really love our community because people are really supportive of each other. You know, you can ask the most basic, I have not watched a single training video question, and people will still very patiently answer that. Or you could ask something very complicated, and you know, people who spend a lot of time doing this for a living will help you out with it. And it's a really great place, you know, for everyone on the spectrum of knowledge.
It's probably a good place for us to wrap this one up, because I think it's very well said, and it's I think programmers, I think the number one thing is that they want to be heard, and they want to know that their feedback matters, and having somebody of their own in there as the manager, I think, is going to be really big. So congrats on this role, Hope. How can people get in touch with you, learn more about the community, and get involved?
Yeah. So Q-SYS communities for developers, it's free to sign up and log in. There's lots of really great info on there. You should be able to search my profile, and hopefully very soon you'll see lots of fun content coming from me.
Excellent. And Hope gave out her information in the last episode as well as on LinkedIn, so you could check her out there too. Um, James, how could people get in touch with you, learn what you're up to, and keep this conversation going?
Again, I hope our listeners take advantage of the knowledge that Hope dropped here and join that community. Again, if you're trying to get a hold of me, I'm on X, Twitter, whatever we're calling it these days, AV_James King. LinkedIn with the as a programmer community. Again, you Google me, you'll find me.
Fantastic. And for me, you can find me on social media at Steve Greenblatt. My company, Control Concepts, supports this podcast, and you could find us at controlconcepts.net. And as Hope so graciously said, we do provide no cost and low cost utilities, whether it's integration with products or just providing added functionality on our website and our utility modules store. So check those out. And we also would like to hear from you and keep the conversation going. It's really important for us to build a community, as we've talked about many times. So the LinkedIn group, the Q-SYS communities, please share your favorite podcasts. Let us know what you think, and let's get more people involved in this discussion. And until next time, this has been Ask the Programmer.